What's going on, everyone? I'm the OPJellicent, and I'm going to be talking about my Week 8 matchup in the Ultimate Battle League. My opponent this week is Ultra Player, coach of the West Virginia Miniors. Very solid player. He is currently 5-2 and a very likely playoff opponent. And for that reason, I'm actually bringing a B team, meaning I'm not bringing my best win condition and my best game plan to this game because, like I did say, I want to preserve that for playoffs. So on the off chance we do win some games in playoffs and end up battling him, we can save it for them. Now, that does not mean I don't have a game plan at all. I still have a win condition and I'm going to try to win this game, but I really want to scout out his sets. I wonder if he's going to do the same thing too. That's definitely an interesting scenario because I think he knows that I'm a very likely playoff opponent too, so we'll see what happens. But you can see his roster over on the right of your screen. You can see my 6 Pokemon at the top of your screen. Let's go ahead and talk about his roster first, starting things off with the Celesteela, which was his round 1 overall pick. Celesteela has a very weird matchup right here because a defensive set is very overwhelmed by a lot of my setup, being Calm Mind Mega Latios with Thunderbolt, Tail Glow Manaphy can really take advantage of that, as well as Swords Dance Cobalion, even like Swords Dance Weavile. So I don't think defensive Celesteela really has its merits right here. And even on offensive spread, my best Scarfers being Crobat, Weavile, I guess my Manaphy, and then my Cobalion can all outspeed that even after an Autotomize, so I wouldn't be surprised if Celesteela is completely left off the board, as crazy as that sounds. Who knows though, maybe he'll just opt for one of those 2 spreads right here and see what happens. Florges was a 2nd round pick right here. Kind of a nice switch into Mega Latios, but he does need a lot of defense to take the 2 Psyshocks, so I really don't even know if he wants to try it with that. It is a good defogger though, it's more reliable hazard control than something like Rapid Spin on the Tentacruel, which I'll talk about later, because I do have a Ghost type on my roster. But if it does come, I'm expecting like a mixed defense spread with maybe like Moonblast, Wish Protect, and then Defog. That would be like the most likely bring. He could put Giga Drain on there if he really wants to hit my Manaphy and my Hippowdon harder, but I don't even know if it'll 2-hit KO either of those Pokemon, so we'll see. Thundurus T is the 3rd Pokemon on his team. I think this is a likely choice Scarfer, but it could also be like a setup set. The problem is it really needs to get up both moves to really have sweeping potential, because I have great ways to switch in, so in that case Nasty Plot would be a good bring, but I also have great ways to outspeed it, meaning Agility would be a good bring, so I think Choice Scarf is a very likely like compromise right here. It's still very strong, but you get the immediate speed control without having to click Agility. As for the 4 moves, I think like U-Turn, Thunderbolt, and then maybe Dark Pulse for Mega Latios, and then Focus Blast, just so it has something to hit my Rotom Heat as well as my Cobalion. That's like the likely bring right here is what I'm thinking. Tentacruel is the 4th Pokemon on his team. Like I did mention, a Rapid Spin set could be good, but I really think its Tentacruel shines with like a Pie-Up Berry Mirror Coat set because it's able to take a +3 Psychic from my Manaphy, as well as any hit from my Mega Latios, and just OHKO them back. Even if I run Psyshock on my Mega Latios, if I were to hit on the physical side, which I do, the Mirror Coat will still go off because it is technically a special move. So that could be a very good niche, however it's very risky, right? Because if I just continue to set up to the point where Psyshock's going to kill through the Pie-Up Berry, he really can't do much about that. So for that reason, he may run something like Toxic or Acid Spray just to make sure that I can't freely set up as he's trying to spam Mirror Coat as on my attack. So we'll see what he decides to do right there. Mega Sceptile is the next Pokemon. I believe it outspeeds my entire team except for like maybe a Speed tie with a Cellgore, so I think it is a strong bring. Pretty standard coverage. It could be physical or special, but I'm expecting special with like Dragon Pulse, Leaf Storm, Focus Blast, and I'm not really sure what he wants to do with the last move. He can really go any route. Maybe like Energy Ball just so he doesn't have to take Leaf Storm drops. Who knows, but I do think Mega Sceptile should come to this game. It's just a good offensive threat. Lycanroc Dusk is one of his better Stealth Rockers for this matchup. I do think it's actually the first one we're talking about so far. It's able to Rocks up because my best switch would be like Hippowdon. If I do want to make that safe pivot, he could just freely get up Rocks and then pivot into something that can threaten me out. For example, the Mega Sceptile right here, so that's a scenario I could see him trying to go for, which I am anticipating right here, but a Swords Dance to Cellrock set could be cool right here too. If he actually Swords Dances and is adamant, he could potentially knock out my Hippowdon with a +2 Z Dragonium. That is one of his Z move users right here, so that's kind of an interesting scenario as well, but we'll see. I think I will use Hippowdon as my initial switch in, as you guys will see when I go over my team. Mesprit is another Pokemon. This is also another Stealth Rocker right here. U-turn momentum into Scarfers such as the Thundurus or Breakers such as the Mega Sceptile is very valuable for him, so I could see him going that route right here. Yeah, I would say like maybe U-turn, Ice Beam, Stealth Rocks, and then like knockoff, something like that. He could run Psychic too, just so he has at least something to hit my Cobalion, but we'll see. U-turning out on Weavile is great for him as well, so I think Mesprit and Lycanroc are both great Stealth Rockers right here. I honestly would prefer if you brought Mesprit, because Lycanroc is very scary with the Accelerock late game. It could also run like Z-Dig, I never mentioned that, like Z-Driller, sorry, for my Cobalion. That's something I do have to anticipate, but yeah, Mesprit, Rocker, U-turn, just gotta know what to anticipate. Passimian has Defiant, of course, so that's something I do have to keep in mind. I don't believe I have an Intimidator user on my team, so I don't really have to worry about that. I don't know if I have any way of reducing its stats. Actually, I have Granbull. Granbull has Intimidate, so I just have to make sure that if I were to bring Granbull later, I don't actually give it the Defiant boost, because I believe it does get Iron Head. I'd imagine +1 Iron Head does a lot to Granbull, so there's something to keep in mind. I'm sure he'll try to take advantage of that too if he does think that I want to use Granbull as my fighting resist this week, but spoilers, I'm not doing that at all. So yeah, Passimian could be a choice Scarfer. I believe it has base 85 speed. Fighting spam is somewhat viable against my team, and it does have secondary coverage to hit what fighting doesn't hit. For example, I think it gets Rock Slide for Crobat. I have to double check on that too, but it could U-turn out on my Mega Latios, which would be like my best other fighting switch, and I believe it gets knockoff too, so that could hit my Gourgeist, and then of course Iron Head is going to be able to hit my Granbull like I already mentioned. So good choice Scarfer right there. I don't think Choice Band is smart at all because it provides him no speed control, so I could just easily revenge it with something like Cobalion, Mega Latios, Weavile, Crobat, anything like that could just go ahead and take care of it. So Choice Scarf is the best to bring. Steelix is his next Pokemon right here. Actually somewhat of a niche Cobalion check, because if I opt to go with the physical variant, which I usually tend to do, I'm sure he'll notice that because I don't like to risk accuracy. It could actually take a +2 Z close combat if he runs Chople Berry, which is really insane, and then obviously can Earthquake me. If he's not Chople Berry and I regular Earthquake it with the defense drops, I'll actually get knocked out by Earthquake, so that's definitely very scary. It's a third Stealth Rocker potential, but I really do think Lycanroc, Dusk, or Mesprit are better right here. Steelix just has a niche against something like my Crobat. It could be Akaberry because I have run like a Z Heat Wave before, so that's something I could keep in mind. Alolan Persian right here is the second to last Pokemon. Good Dark type, it kind of stops my Mega Latios from running a mono attacking set. With just Psychic coverage, that would be a really great Bing right here, but unfortunately Persian and Alola kind of just deals with that as a whole. It's really just going to run like Parting Shot and then Foul Play. Maybe Toxic, and then I don't even know what else it does. I know it gets Nasty Plot, so like a Nasty Plot breaking set could be kind of cool because it is faster than a lot of my better offensive threats that it would want to threaten out. It could be like Nasty Plot, Dark Pulse, Parting Shot, and then something to hit Cobalion, maybe like a Technician Hidden Power type. That could be kind of cool. And then finally he has Porygon Z, another potential choice Scarfer because normal spam is quite good against my team. My two resists being my Gourgeist, which is immune, and he can obviously run like Shadow Ball for that, and then Cobalion, which Cobalion Spit F stats not even that good to begin with, so I would need to run Investment if I wanted to take the 2 Scarf Tri-Attacks right here. But yeah, that's going to be his team. If I had to guess the 6 that he's going to bring, I would say Florges, Nutty, Tentacruel, Mega Sceptile, and then some combination of like Lycanroc, Dusk, Mesprit, Passimian, and Alolan Persian for the last 2. Maybe Porygon Z as well, because the normal spam is good. I really think the 2 things he shouldn't bring are actually his steals. I think 1 steal is definitely going to come though, either Steelix or Celesteela, so we'll see. But let's go ahead and talk about my 6 Pokemon. So we're going to start things off with the win condition immediately right here. I have Ultimate the Manaphy, which is a Choice Scarf set right here. I was very happy to see the speed tier at base 100 allows me to outspeed a +2 Celesteela if I run Timid Choice Scarf. So ideally I can weaken Celesteela as it tries to set up with something else, and then revenge it with Manaphy right here, and we will be good to go. The Surf is really spammable against this team. His 2 resists are Mega Sceptile and Tentacruel. They both get hit by secondary coverage, being Ice Beam and Psychic. Now I do have to keep in mind, after I do reveal my Choice Scarf, Florges he's going to know is a very safe switch-in, so for that reason I have U-turn right here just to get momentum on that Pokemon as it comes into Pokemon like my Cobalion, for example, or even my Mega Latios, if it is in range of the Psyshock at that point, so that could be a great scenario. I have a bit of HP and defense on here, which allows me to take a Choice Scarf, Lycanroc, Stone Edge twice, even after Stealth Rocks, which is great. Sort of random tech, I know, but I definitely want to make sure I don't get caught off guard by that sort of speed control, and the defense will help me out right there, and then a little bit of HP also allows me to take a Choice Scarf Thunder as his Thunderbolt, if he is timid, of course. That's going to be great. And yeah, ideally this can go ahead and clean late game with Surf. That is the plan. Let's go ahead and talk about my second Pokemon. Alright, moving right along here, we have Rindoberry Sloth the Hippowdon, which is my Stealth Rocker for the team. It's also a good initial switch into Pokemon like the Lycanroc Dusk as well as the Passimian, even the Steelix, but it's mainly here to lure the Mega Sceptile. I know he's going to want to use that thing to pressure this, and I can go ahead and take a Leaf Storm, a +2 Leaf Blade or whatever, with the Rindoberry, and with that a 20 attack investment you see right there, I can guarantee an Oko with the Ice Fang on an offensive Mega Sceptile, assuming he does that to speed tie with my Selgor, so that would be great right here. I did mention that's one of the better stops to my Manaphy, just clicking Surf, so if we can get that lure off, that would be great. This also kind of lures Thundurus T if it is weakened into range of Ice Fang, because I can take a Grass Knot from that and then revenge it with Ice Fang as well. if it was Choice Scarf, I do want to eliminate that to help out my Manaphy as well. So the combination right here really is just opens up the door for Manaphy a lot. Get up rocks, try to lure something that would otherwise stop my Manaphy, and we should put ourselves in a good position right here. I have Slack Off on there as well, obviously, just for longevity. Put myself back out of range of those grass type attacks and be good to go. And yeah, hopefully Slop can go ahead and do its job this week. Let's go ahead and talk about my Mega Latios. So next up right here, I actually have a very Spidef Combine Mega Latios. This is actually the first time all season that I'm actually bringing a setup Mega Latios. I usually bring Roost 3 attacks. I guess I have brought Dragon Dance a few times, but that's really just for the speed control. This is really the first time I'm using it as a wall breaker right here. So we have Combine Roost, Psyshock, and Thunderbolt. Psyshock is definitely the way to go over Psychic, just to be able to hit floor just harder. I have a lot of HP in Spidef just because I want to be able to sponge a Dragon Pulse from the Mega Sceptile even after rocks. Even though I don't have Ice Beam, getting Psyshock damage on that will put it in range of the Surf, which is great right here, despite the 4 times resist, so that's very valuable. I also have a bit of defense just so I can take Dragon Claw from the Mega Sceptile. I can sponge a hit from the Lycanroc Dusk even if it is Z move, like the Splintered Storm Charge or whatever. After Stealth Rocks, it does like max 87, and I'll be at 87.5, so that's very great. I of course have max speed just to speed tie that, but the main thing is, this is one of my 2 wall breakers this week. I'm going to Combine up, make sure I'm able to dent the Celesteela, the floor, just anything that would want to take advantage of my Manaphy, and we will be good to go. This is also a Tentacruel switch in. I mean, I guess Toxic or Acid Spray could be annoying, but I can set up alongside that Mirror Coat. I did mention Pie-Up Berry Mirror Coat is scary, but it cannot beat Combine Roost at all, which is great right here. So ideally, Gateway can go ahead and do the wall breaking it needs to this week. Let's talk about my Rotom Heat. So moving into the second half, we have the second pivot on the team being Roy the Rotom Heat. The other was Slot the Hippowdon. This is my team's defogger. He does have okay ways of setting up hazards, like I did mention. I do think Lycanroc Dusk and Mesprit both have their merits as stealth rockers in this game, but he could also put it on Steelix if he really wants to. This is my primary switch into the Thundurus T. The HP plus Spidef allows me to take a +2 super effective hidden power, even after Stealth Rock's damage. That's assuming he's not like Expert Belt or anything like that. Thankfully, Thundurus is not a Z-mod, of course, but we have Overheat Volt Switch right here just to gain momentum on the Florges. You see my speed IVs right there. I have 0 speed, and that's because I want to get a slow Volt Switch on the Florges if possible, because I really want to get that slow momentum into Pride my Cobalion, which is next, and avoid having to take a Moonblast with that. I would much rather just take a Moonblast or Toxic, and then I Volt Switch out and get in something else. That would be great right here. I do have Toxic on the set too, just in case it is actually not a heal bell. I think it's a Aromatherapy set on the Florges, so that could be cool to go ahead and wear that down, because wearing down Florges is vital for my Manaphy as well. So if he doesn't bring a Cleric move on that, I can go ahead and wear it down, and we will be good to go right here. But it's really just my primary Spidefmon. It's also a good switch into Mega Sceptile. The HP plus defense allows me to take a +2 Rock Slide even after the Stealth Rocks, which is quite nice right here, and just dent that with Overheat or get a Toxic off on it. So ideally, we can use this to respond to at least one of either Thundurus T, Mega Sceptile, or Florges, or even Celesteela. This is also a good Celesteela switch in, even because Celesteela is not a Z move user, right? So if he brings an Autada my set, I can sponge a Stone Edge, which would be like the hardest hitting thing he would have for my Rotom Heat right here. So ideally, it puts in work. Let's go ahead and talk about my Cobalion. Alright, my second to last Pokemon right here is Pride my Cobalion, which is my second setup wall breaker, but it also doubles as speed control because I really don't need too much coverage this week. I have a Rock Polish on there over something like Stone Edge to hit the Thundurus, because I do think the late game speed control could be very vital right here. The speed investment is for the Thundurus T anyway, despite the fact that I hit it not very effectively with both my attacks, because weakening that with the Fightinium Z could prove to be very vital just to put it in range of my Manaphy Surf, so that could be very valuable right here. But the main thing is, if I can get this in on something like the Florges or the Celesteela and force a Swords Dance, I pretty much guarantee a kill. I don't even have that much attack investment, but when I'm +2 using a Z move, I really don't need it right here. And for that reason, I could run a lot of HP plus defense, which is actually multi-purpose. It allows me to take a Z Drill Run from the Lycanroc Dusk, even from 94%. Which is where I would be after the Stealth Rocks. I can also take a Choice Scarf Close Combat from the Pissimian, which I can go ahead and knock out after those defense drops from the Close Combat, which is great right here. So ideally, this can go ahead and sponge hits. Wall breaking is the main thing with Cobalion this week, though, and if the opportunity does prevent itself late game, I can go ahead and Rock Polish up, and maybe use this as a secondary win condition if the situation does arise, but it's really a wall breaker. Let's go ahead and talk about my Weavile. Okay, and my final Pokemon right here is Greed the Weavile, which is a Swords Dance wall breaking set, more wall breaking. I figured that I already have the speed on Weavile that I need. The one thing that I don't outspeed is Mega Sceptile, which I obviously can just go ahead and OHKO with Ice Shard. The Focus Sash essentially guarantees me an SD if I can keep rocks off off the field, which is very vital right here. I can also go ahead and take the Cell Rock from the Lycanroc Dusk no matter what, which is great. I can knock off whatever it has and then maybe pick it off with Ice Shard after, which could be a very good scenario. Getting rid of priority for my Manaphy is very vital right here, so that could be pretty cool, but the main idea is I can take a Moonblast or a Heavy Slam from the Celesteal or Florges, SD up, and then just force a kill, or maybe even sweep through his team depending on how weakened I have stuff, right? Because if Lycanroc is weakened enough for the Ice Shard, then I can go ahead and pick that off. I do have the necessary speed investment for that right here, and knockoff plus Icicle Crash pretty much hits everything else, so this could be another win condition, but it's really here for the wall breaking potential. I really want to make sure I don't get stalled out this game. I figured that Manaphy provides me all the speed control that I need with Choice Scarf. It outspeeds a lot of the best win conditions, and since I do have good pivots into the Thundurus T, which is one of his better ways of avenging Manaphy, I can just slap wall breakers on the team and be good to go right here. So that's going to be Greed the Weavile. We have multiple win conditions, but I'm really going to prioritize trying to weaken stuff for Manaphy and be good to go there. So let me know what you guys think of the team. Obviously not my best work, like I did say. There were a couple different sets I'm avoid bringing right here, or even bringing up, because I really want to save them for the playoff. The match will be going live in 24 hours from when this video went live, so Friday at 10 AM Eastern. I hope you all are looking forward to it, and I'll see you then. Later.